Supercharged.
We're just wrapping up on our first ever Supercharged Summit. If you missed out, you missed out on a lot. There was so much energy in that room. There was so much energy on the terrace and outside of the room. There was so much energy at the breakout sessions and at the panels and at the fireside chats and at the lunches and just at the networking sessions. There was so much that happened, so much good, so much supercharged. And I was there. And I think some of you listeners were there too. And if you weren't there, I want to cry for you, really, because it's really sad if you missed out on this thing, because it really was that good. And you got to make sure you don't miss out on the next one. But let me just tell you, give you a little sort of insight into it. There are a few people who told me that I couldn't do it. A few people who said, no, I don't think you should be doing a summit. You got so much going on. I'm not sure that it's something you can handle right now. And then there are a few people who told me that I should push it back. Oh, you should wait another 6 months or so. Now's not a good time. But let me tell you one thing. The summit had to happen. We did it. It happened. And it goes back to what I said in episode 0. If you never start, you will never succeed. And it's something that's important for you to understand about any endeavor that you are undertaking. There always has to be a first time to do something. The Supercharged Summit was the first time that I and our team put on an event anything like this. But it's something that I had a vision for, and I had an idea about, and I had a dream about, and I knew I wanted to occur. And I wanted it to occur because there's so many different seminars, and there's so many different conferences, and there's so many different summit or symposiums. And at a lot of these things, people are talking at you. And you have networking sessions, and that's great and all too. But at so few of them do you actually have the ability to take and learn something and have that tool that you learn and immediately apply that tool into your life and apply it in a place where you're in this amazing, supportive environment where everyone is there to elevate everything and everyone is there to help each other shine and be their most powered up, powerful versions of themselves. So when you have that and the spirit of that, there are no secrets. So the tools that all of our speakers and panelists were able to share with everyone who was there are tools that people put into practice, and they were able to use them immediately, and they were able to take that and go out into their lives and continuously put those things into practice. For those who were afraid, because that's usually where things stem from, is that fear, I said, it's going to happen, and it did happen, and it was supercharged, and it was amazing, and it was everything that it should have been. I mean, we had Cookie Johnson and her husband, Irvin Magic Johnson. They were speaking on their first panel together ever, even after 27 years of marriage. That's something powerful that was there at the Supercharged Summit. That magic of a strong partnership was so fulfilling and so wonderful for so many people there to really peel back the curtains, or what is it? Peel off the onions, poke behind the curtains, who knows what you call it. It was just a wonderful thing because they were able to share in such a way where during that conversation, it wasn't about power behind the throne. It was about the power of a strong partnership. And that was what the Supercharged Summit was about. There were so many people involved to help create and make the magic of the Supercharged Summit. There were so many people involved, from people in production, from panelists, from our Supercharged team, from attendees. Every single person who was there helped create this event and helped make it what it needed to be. So one of the things that was such a highlight and stood out for me for the Supercharged Summit, and for those of you who are only listening to the podcast, you may not be able to see what the summit was all about. So I'll try to paint a picture. Imagine you are walking in to a friend's house. And this may be a friend you've known for years and years and years. And whenever you go to that friend's house, you just know they make you feel good. You know you're welcome. You know you're going to have a good time. And you know you could talk about anything and everything. You know you can sit down, you can put your feet up, you can get comfortable, you can really open yourself up. And you can learn, and you can laugh, and you can share, and you can grow. That is what the Supercharged Summit was. We were there, It was like we were all just there, hanging out in my living room, having a good time, talking, and really just being open to all that everyone had to offer and to all that everyone brought into this summit and into this space. And not only that, there was a moment in the Supercharged Summit, and it was right after we did the Supercharged Sound Bath, and there was something called the Confidence Choir. And when all of our voices came together after listening to the sounds in the sound bath and listening to the words in the sound bath and hearing and feeling the movement and the energy and the frequencies, after all of us took our headphones off and together started with one voice chanting and saying and singing, "We are supercharged." And that energy that just kept building of "We are supercharged." Because even though this podcast is called I Am Supercharged with Kwanza Jones, it's I because you individually are listening to this. But together, it's we. And just as in that Supercharged Summit, we were all supercharged together. And that is why we sang and we chanted and we spoke loudly, whatever you want to call it, that we are supercharged. The energy when you have that common voice, that one shared voice and sound lifting and singing and shouting and smiling and yelling and crying and laughing together, that we are supercharged. And the fact that we were there and we knew we were there. And as everyone left their seats and was invited onto the stage and they came onto the stage and they were all together, hand in hand, saying, "We are supercharged," and feeling what that meant and knowing that the tools that they had and the knowledge that they learned and what they were able to put into practice meant they weren't just supercharged in that moment. They weren't just supercharged alone, that we together are supercharged and will continue to be supercharged. That was the Supercharged Summit, and that was something powerful, and that was something that some of you missed out on, but you don't want to miss it again. So you've got to make sure that you are attending our next Supercharged events. You got to make sure you look out for our next Supercharged Summit. Let me tell you, what could have been different for the summit? Nothing. Everything was what it should have been. And when you're starting something, that's always so very important, whether it's a new business endeavor that you're starting, whether it's a new project you're starting, whether it's a new class you want to take, whether you want to learn something new. When you are starting something, and whether you're interested in producing something, you have to understand there's so many elements and so many pieces that have to come and work together to make this thing what you want it to be. But the first and most important thing is you must have a vision. Everything starts with a vision. And you must have a very clear understanding of what that is. And you must be so in tune with what that vision is that you have, that you are not swayed at all when you hear naysayers saying things like, "You shouldn't do this, you can't do this, you're crazy for doing this, why are you doing this?" Now, having a vision is one thing, and it's important to make sure you're committed to pursuing what that vision is, but you also still have to be open, because even with the Supercharged Summit, it still is a process, and I always talk about this, that no one can ever do it alone. So you have your vision, you share your vision at some point, because you have to in order to make sure it happens and that what you want is brought to life. You have to be open to other voices and what they are saying. You have to know when to give and when to take. You have to know when to move and how. But that's part of partnerships, and that's part of relationships. And that's part of even just knowing what is it that is important to fight for and that you're willing to fight for, and what are things that it's okay for you to compromise on. The only way you know that is by truly knowing who you are and having that self-awareness and really asking yourself, what is it that you are capable of? And when you think you're capable of something, ask yourself then, what more can you do? What more will you do? Because therein, you can't be putting in 1% effort and expecting 100% effort from others. You got to give equally. You got to give even more so that you are there and they are seeing what it is that you are doing and what you're committed to. Because why would you ask for something that you wouldn't even do yourself? So just know, have that vision, from that vision, create a plan, create partnerships, find a way to work in a way that elevates what it is that you are trying to bring to life. And you too will find that you will have success in anything that you are doing related to any new endeavor that you want to undertake. So, what's next for Kwanza Jones after the Supercharged Summit? Let me tell you what a lot of people kept asking me. A lot of people kept saying, okay, have you done this before? Because this is amazing. Now, of course, I was overjoyed to hear this sort of feedback because our team put in a lot of long nights, a lot of hard work, a lot of time and energy into making this experience. And it was so gratifying to see that people got what we were sharing and what we were putting out there. So what's next? Some of the people ask, okay, is there a talk show coming? Because this needs to be a talk show. So who knows? Maybe there's a talk show coming soon. You'll just have to find out. You'll see. The one thing is, regardless of what's next for Kwanza Jones or what's next for Supercharged with Kwanza Jones, regardless of what is next, you will never know about it if you don't stay connected with us. So you got to make sure you stay connected. So go to the website, go to social media, sign up, raise your hand, lift your voice, do something so we know where you are and who you are so we can engage with you. I want to engage with you. I want to talk to you. I want to meet you. I want us to be able to be supercharged because we are supercharged. And right here and now with you listening, I am supercharged with Kwanza Jones and we are supercharged together. That's all I got for you right now. Who loves you? Don't you know by now? I do. Bye for now.